What have you learned about people's behavior and their reaction to being arrested and prosecuted for DUI? What insights have you gained into the human side of this?
They're they're frequently very surprised. Now, there are people who come to see me who admit that they were impaired and shouldn't have been driving, and they frequently say something along the lines of, "I've screwed up seriously, help me through this," and that's what I do. There are other people who come through here who are mortified. I had a trial last week with a man who was stopped by a DUI specially trained specialist, a drug recognition expert, with a special deputy sheriff's car fully outfitted to do every single thing you can do in a DUI case. Was released by that officer. He drove literally 3 blocks and 1 car length away and was stopped by 2 officers in St. Cloud who asked him to do field sobriety exercises. The client asked more than once, "Why do I have to do this? I've just done this for a deputy sheriff DUI officer." After the second time around, the officer says, "I'm going to take that as a no," and arrested him right on the spot. This man thought that he could talk to the police officers and have a conversation among equals. Police officers are really, the very best police officers are trained to take control of the situation. It is not a conversation between equals. It's a conversation between a police officer with power who's not going to give up one iota of it, and a person who may be very well having their very first adversarial conversation with a law enforcement officer. And they are frequently surprised and mortified by how the system really works. For instance, a person who's been told to respect a police officer, answer the questions truthfully, all of a sudden forgets that he has the right to remain silent, or that he should remain silent. The police officer is allowed to lie to him, say, "I want you to step out of the car to make sure that you're going to be okay to keep on driving." And this is from a police officer who knows in his heart and soul that you're not going to leave anyway, except in the back of his car already. All right. The police officers are allowed to misrepresent facts. They're allowed to lie to people and trick them. The person who's talking with the police officer expects the police officer to listen and to at least take into consideration what the person has to say. Many times, what they have to say, the police officer just flat out disregards because it's not part of what they're doing. With these DUI investigations, they have these prepared forms, this procedure they go through, which is very similar to the procedure you use to make sausage. It involves taking stuff and shoving it in one end of a grinder, and what comes out, they call it a DUI. All right. They don't care what you say. They don't care what you do. They want you to keep talking and just keep doing what they tell you to do. And when it's all done, they're going to be able to present you to the court as another example of how they have saved the citizens of Orange, Osceola County from the horrors that this person would have inflicted. They're right often enough, but that's significant. But for some of these people, for many people, they're just mortified to realize that nothing they said, nothing they could do was going to change the outcome of the case. So yeah. I got people come in here who are deeply offended, deeply upset, because they thought that this is a system that's designed to find out what's true.
Right.
In fact, if police officers are trained to be heroes. These are people who think about being shot, protecting citizens, going into burning buildings and whatnot. And they're basically heroes in training, in waiting. However, when they think you're a bad guy, the rules change, and it's a whole other ballgame. And when they think that a person has been driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, they want you to give answers to confirm that. And they've already decided you're guilty. So now their job is to get you to say as many things as you can possibly say that can be used later on to establish that they saved Osceola County from horrors that you were about to inflict. And they don't care what you really say.
Okay.
What they care about is you keep talking.